Excellent. Okay. Yeah, usual first question really in terms of performance. Were you pleased today with the performance?
Not really, no. I think we didn't sort of play particularly well today. I think I don't want to make excuses, but that was our 4th game in 7 days. We've had to do 3 away games on the spin as well, and the last week of the season is far from ideal. So we can give the players the benefit of the doubt on that. I think we just lacked a little bit of spark in our play today. I thought we actually started the game reasonably well. We looked like we had quite good control. We were, playing our usual sort of passing style and knocking the ball around and probably dominating possession. But I think probably if we would have been still playing at midnight tonight, we wouldn't have scored, to be quite honest. We perhaps a little bit guilty of over-elaborating at times. And that was the way it was today. I think we looked quite tired out there, and a bit of a disappointing way to end the season. But what you can't do is judge everything on today's game, because actually when we've gone to Braintree and Wealdstone this week, there's been some real positive bits of play as well. But today, we didn't play particularly well, and it was a bit of a disappointing way to end the season. But what we have to do now is we have to look how we can improve things. We have to look how we can improve the playing squad. I need to look at how I can improve as a manager. The staff. We'll all need to try and look to improve the club as well, and on how we can move forward. But we certainly didn't want to come and get beat on our last game of the season. But perhaps the 4th game in 7 days took its toll a little bit in the end.
And in terms of the season as a whole, I mean, it's difficult to sum up in a minute or so, but a bit of a roller coaster, really. Yeah,
I think it has been. Like I've said throughout, we've had some very, very good moments and some enjoyable moments, and perhaps we've had some times where we've perhaps flattered to deceive a little bit. The only disappointing thing this season has been that we have sort of been in that bottom 7, bottom 8 most of the season. We haven't ever threatened those playoffs positions, and I think overall, to sum it up, is I think we play some good stuff. But we perhaps lack a little bit of killer instinct in the side. I said about a month or 2 months ago, for all of the possession we have as a team, perhaps we don't threaten enough, we don't make the opposition's keeper work enough, and that's an area we need to look at. But we've also done some very, very positive things. I think our style of play has won us many fans throughout the season. Everywhere we go, we've got a reputation of playing good football, and I think teams respect us for that. But like I always say, you have to then marry that up with winning games and being able to penetrate and being good in both boxes. And perhaps we haven't quite got that right, but there is no doubt there's been some positive moments in the season. Nobody can take the cup run away from us. It's the first time that the club's beat league opposition in their 130 odd year history. Only the 2nd time we got to the 2nd round of the FA Cup in our history. So that is records that have been broken, and nobody can take that away from us. But perhaps we have underachieved a little bit in our league campaign.
And you're already starting to think about the season to come?
Yeah, as a manager, unfortunately, it doesn't finish for me. The last ball isn't kicked and that's it. I've got to think about, which players we could try to keep, ones that we want to try to bring in. I know the club are working very, very hard to get a competitive budget for next year. I've got to wait and see, what I've got to work with. But, all the initial discussions we have is that, we may have a bit of a budget cut for next year. The most important thing is the club gets itself on an even footing. And, we're still battling away, trying to pay off a huge, huge debt. So, I don't know whether I'm going to be able to keep all of our best players. We're going to try as a club to try and maybe keep the spine of the side and do as best we can. But, the fact of the matter is, we can't sustain, the money sort of going out is greater than the money coming in, and that can't go on for too long. So I understand that totally. Got to sit down with the with the club sort of this week and try and work out what we can go with. But I think I've got an idea in my mind what I think we need. But whether I can actually sort of bring the right type of players in and keep all of the ones we want, I think it's going to be a little bit of a challenge.
Have you already got your eye on players? Are you already sort of looking at the people that you do want to bring in?
Yeah, we're quite proactive as a staff. We've got a database of players that we've identified this year, ones that have played well against us and that type of thing, and ones that we've sort of been looking at from lower leagues. you know, it's all right though identifying them, actually getting them, you know, is another thing, and actually being able to afford them is another thing, because you know, at this level the wages that players demand, you know, is high. So we'll work hard though, you know, and whatever we do we'll keep fighting, when we'll put a competitive team out there next year for Oxford City, and you know, let's look on a positive. You know, that could have easily been us today. You know, I mean, Poole have just been relegated, you know, they must be feeling extremely low, and we've managed to, you know, keep our position in this division, keep the club going, have a fantastic FA Cup run. So all in all, I think you can look at it and say, you know, it's been quite successful. Obviously, as a manager and as a coach, I always want to do as best I can and do better and better, and perhaps overachieve, and that's what you have to do. But I think, you know, if you look at the season as a whole, the way we've tried to play, the plaudits we've got from that, I think there's certainly been lots of positives as well, but perhaps we have just slightly underachieved in our league campaign.
Mark, thank you so much for that. It's been brilliant.
Thank
Thanks
you
very much.